Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Raceface TV. I'm your host, Rod Wortham. We're going to be joined in just a minute by my good friend Tom Baker down in Mooresville, North Carolina. As all of you know, this is a massive weekend for racing all across the country with the Coca-Cola 600 going on, the Indy 500, the Grand Prix of Monaco. I was even watching last night, there's a big Formula E racing event going over with a whole bunch of young talent over. I think it's being run at Monaco too on the same weekend. And then Tom's going to be sharing with us all kinds of events that are going on out in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So let's go right now. Let's go down to Race Chaser Online, Mr. Tom Baker. Hey, Tom, how are you this evening?
I am trying to stay dry, Rod. How are you down there in Florida?
Well, we're about the same way. You know, it's been almost like a drought here. So I've got the greatest way to fix a drought. That's start to put a new roof on your building. As soon as you do that, it's going to start raining.
Yeah, do that or schedule a NASCAR race. It seems like. Yeah, we've just been deluged the last 36 hours or so with a lot of rain. We have several satellite events in the area that kind of happen around the big NASCAR events at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Last night's Little 600 for at the GoPro Motorplex, they did get that race in somehow, but the Millbridge Speedway canceled their or postponed their Speed 51 Open for the Mini Outlaws until, well, they were supposed to run day number 2 today. Both last night and today have been postponed. They will now run the Tuesday program tomorrow night and tonight's program on Friday. And then, of course, we had a Pass South event that was scheduled to happen on the big half mile at Concord and just announced here shortly before we started tonight's show. That Pass South late model series event at Concord Motor Speedway has already been postponed, not because obviously of rain necessarily Friday night, but because the grounds are so wet from all the rain that we've had in the last 24 hours. So just a lot of stuff going on. We've had tornado warnings in the area here near our studio and down in the Charlotte area. It's just been a very active weather pattern this afternoon, and this empty chair next to me here is scheduled to be filled by Chase Cabre, who is a rookie driver who is both in the NASCAR Drive for Diversity and the NASCAR Next program. And Chase is on his way here to the studio, but had to get through all the weather. So looking forward to having him on shortly, and that's why there is another chair next to me here. But yeah, Rod, this would be a great weekend for NASCAR to debut the all-new speedboat racing division, I think.
Well, either that or, I mean, let's just fix it. Let's just go rain tires. You know, let's put rain tires on stock cars and just go for it. I think that'd be great.
Well,
as long as you're not
sure how that would work on the banking, owner,
but you know. But I know that you mentioned the Little 600, and guess what? I was able to find a little highlight video. So James, let's take a quick look at that video from last night's Little 600 out there in the Charlotte area.
Cool event Justin Marks and everybody here at GoPro Motorplex put on. It's going on 4 years, I believe now. I was able to win it last year, so that was really cool. With the conditions how they are today, I'll probably be finishing last. It's all for good fun. We all come out here and beat bang a little bit, get off in the mud, destroy some of the barriers out there.
It's definitely a different technique than I'm used to. Every line that you would normally take here, you take the opposite, and you can't go near as fast. And I tell myself in my mind, like, don't run it in so far, and then I run it way off in there and, you know, spin out.
We're all competitive, right? We would race wheelbarrows if that was an option. You put, I don't know, 15, 20 of us, however many are here, in a go-kart on rain, on slicks, it's gonna be pretty epic.
Here we go with green. For all the marbles. Look at that, look at him. And again. He bounces rumble strip over rumble strip. Oh, we got one turned around again. That is all over it. He is just crossed up. McDowell is slow on the racetrack and now gets shoved off the track by Joey Logano. Oh, that was all kinds of bad. Corey LaJoie wins the Little 600.
Well, there you got it. Corey LaJoie brings it home. I think those were kind of, the famous pass in the grass. I think there was a lot of passing in the grass going on down there last night.
Yeah, well, again, the weather conditions that we've had here, it's tough to race go-karts in the rain. And, we had so much standing water all over the area that it's a miracle they were even able to get that thing in at all. But that's just a bunch of fun. And it gives our audience a look at the GoPro Motorplex and what that track is like. That's a track that a lot of drivers from different divisions of the sport use in the off season just to keep their skills sharp, and some of them even in season. And very challenging track. I had a chance to get out there a couple times and run around there, and it's not as easy as these guys make it look, but definitely a lot of fun at the Little 600. That's always a neat event. It was on Fans Choice TV. And so that was just one of the satellite events. As I say, the Speed 51 Open at Millbridge Speedway, which is a 6-mile dirt track. The Mini Outlaw karts running on that. And you'll see a bunch of talent from across the country in that event coming up over the next 2 nights. That had to be postponed from last night and tonight to tomorrow night and Friday night. So hopefully the weather will break and allow them to be able to get that track prepared and get that event in. Probably about 100 Outlaw Open karts in addition to all the other divisions. And we'll see Kyle Larson and Rico Abreu and Tanner Thorson and a bunch of very, very good young drivers from all over the country come in to take on the veterans who race Millbridge on a weekly basis.
So Tom, tell us a little bit about these Outlaw karts. I know that I think we've got an image of an engine in one of them right now that we're showing, and actually this is I believe this is Lauren Ranier's kart. I'm not really sure who's going to be racing it for him this weekend, but from what I understand, these are little powerhouses. So what can you tell us about the kind of the makeup, the engine size, and what's the top speeds and stuff like that on these karts?
Well, the car is like what you see here. Lauren's kart is that'll run in the open class, and those karts, the horsepower to weight ratio is virtually identical to a World of Outlaws 410 sprint car. I mean, it's very deceiving. They look small, but they're actually very, very fast for this 6-mile track. We saw about half a dozen of them get end over end last Wednesday at Millbridge in was kind of a preamble to this week's big show. A lot of guys coming in to test for this weekend or this week, I should say, and had some rollovers last week. They are volatile little cars, but they're a lot of fun. The open class is the top division, and those are a combination of motors, but somewhere, in the neighborhood of about 500 cc, somewhere in there. And it's a top flight motor. And in fact, Joe Gibbs Racing builds a lot of the motors that run in these divisions at Millbridge, and just some great side-by-side racing. They handle a lot like a sprint car would. There's something a little bit for everybody with that style of racing, because in addition to the open class, you've got an intermediate division, which is a combination of 125 and 250 cc motors. And then for the younger kids, you've got beginners, you've got box stocks. So there is a progression at Millbridge. You can start young and move up, and you see a lot of recognizable names. Steve Letart's son, who I think is about 13 now, maybe. He's a very good young racer. A lot of drivers have sons. Brett Bodine's son Alex races there. He's just debuted in the open class this year. A lot of drivers. Ty Gibbs, the grandson of Coach Joe Gibbs, cut his teeth there before moving up into the late models this year. Carson Elledge, who of course is part of the extended Earnhardt Elledge family. Jimmy Elledge's daughter is a good racer there. A lot of recognizable names from big time racing on a weekly basis on Wednesday nights at Millbridge. It's just a ton of fun, and it's really good car control experience for the drivers as well.
Well, Tom, I'm going to be coming out to visit you here sometime in June, so I want to make sure that I'm there on a Wednesday night because I want to really go out and check that out. It just kind of blows my mind that, especially, I mean, think about it. Here you've got, you know, the Sprint Cups. The Monster Cup.
There's $1 in the jar.
Yep, $1 in the jar. The Monster Cup points leader right now, going out running these outlaw carts, and that's got to be, you know, amazing for the young drivers out there that are competing against him, thinking about, oh my gosh, you know, I'm out here racing against a guy who's leading the points, and who, you know, a lot of people consider around the country right now as being one of the hottest drivers that's out there as far as NASCAR is concerned.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, and again, you've got not only Larson, but you've got Tanner Thorson, who is working his way up the motorsports ladder now on the pavement side after, well, he still runs a lot of dirt shows, but, you know, you've got Chase Briscoe, who will probably be in action, and Ryan is a driver who runs mostly now indoors in the wintertime at the indoor TQ midget shows that they have up here on the East Coast in the Northeast area during the wintertime. He's very, very good at that. His day job during the racing season is he's a tire changer for Ryan Blaney with Wood Brothers Racing. So, and also works, I think, on the 22 Xfinity car for Team Penske. So Ryan is, I think, going to be hopping in Lauren's cart for this week at Millbridge for the big Speed 51 Open. And this is a big money, big time national event. Like I said, we'll have probably 100 or more of the open class outlaw carts here, and drivers coming in from all over the country. I think we had a couple from Canada last year. So it's a big deal here. And so that's that just gives you an idea. If you come into town this week for, you know, the events at Charlotte Motor Speedway, if it weren't for the weather, you'd have had something different for racing every single night, just about, not to mention, you know, whatever else you want to see in town with all of the race shops and the Hall of Fame and the normal things that you would do as a tourist coming into town. Just a lot of stuff around here, and a great week to be in this area and be a racing fan.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish I was out there with you. Well, we're going to get ready now, and we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, hopefully we're going to be joined, if the weather's permitted, with Chase Cabre coming to us live from right there in our studio in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we'll be back with you in just a few moments.
Ever need a doctor after hours? Well, searching won't help. But what do? You could go to the urgent care or ER, but if only there was a better way. Introducing the MNO Plus card. No waiting rooms, no copay, no consultation fee, giving you 24/7 access to a doctor by phone or online. It's easy to get started with affordable plans starting at $15 a month for a family of 5. For more information, visit mnoplus.com today.
81% of consumers search online before even setting foot in a store. We help you create a strong foundation for your digital reputation. We help build your online presence to improve search engine rank and make sure your business information is correct across the web. You could do all of this on your own, but why would you spend more than 300 hours a year working on this? You have a business to run. Save time and put our software to work for you.
The Edge, Fridays at noon. If you're an entrepreneur looking for cutting-edge information, tips, tricks, secrets, expert interviews, it's all here at The Edge. Anything you need to build your business, this is the show to listen to. It's The Edge. Check us out Fridays at noon.
Well, welcome back, everybody. And I think as you can see, the rain must have let up a little bit down there. We got Chase in the studio down there. So, Chase, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, and how about yourself?
We're doing great, man. We really appreciate you coming on to the show tonight. I know you got a lot of exciting things that you want to share with everybody. So, Tom, I'm going to kind of turn it over to the two of you guys and just share with the audience about what's going on in your life.
Well, first of all, Chase, why don't you just give us a quick background on yourself and kind of your racing background and bring us up to speed with what you're doing this year with the Diversity and the Next program and Can-Am Pro Series East.
Yeah, well, I'm 20 years old, originally from Tampa, Florida. Started out in dirt sprint cars and more mini sprints, ran mini sprints for a long time, kind of took a little stab in the sprint cars, and then we moved on to asphalt, where I ran a limited late model last year for about 7 to 8 races out at Hickory Motor Speedway. And then this year I had put my application to the NASCAR Drive for Diversity program, and it went to the combine. Just so happened worked out that I'm running their K&N car for Rev Racing in the NASCAR full-time, the NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series East. Also just announced that I was accepted into the NASCAR Next program. So far it's been a great year. We've learned a lot and just going to continue to move forward with what we've got.
Well, congratulations on that. You know, the one thing we do have in common, I don't know if Tom told you, but our studio is here in Newport Richey, Florida. So we're just right outside of Tampa. So I just got to ask a quick question. Growing up in the Tampa area, is it different now that you're out in the Carolinas? And you have your favorite restaurant down here? Just where's your favorite place to go? Because I may want to go check it out or not.
Oh, well, it's kind of a chain restaurant. Not so much. I really do like PDQ chicken. Besides that, I also like Kobe's Steakhouse for a good dinner. So
Kobe's.
Definitely places out there in Brandon or where you'd find me at if I was down in Tampa.
All right. So you originally from here in the area, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Very cool. So it's got to be pretty exciting. I mean, congratulations, number one, on getting chosen as a NASCAR Next driver. That's a major accomplishment. And, you know, it's got to be exciting running the K&N series. I'm going to tell you what, some of the best racing that I watch all year comes from that series. And it seems like there's just a tremendous amount of talent there. And it's a great proving ground to be able to take that next step up.
Yeah, it's a fun series to get your feet wet in. I've explained to a lot of people it's way different than what I ran last year. Cars are a lot heavier, a lot harder to drive, not as much grip, more power. But besides that, the actual racing part of it, you know, I went into my first race and they told me, you got to save tires, you got to save tires. Well, about 3 laps into, I keyed up and said, what happened to saving tires? Everybody's going so hard. But I quickly learned that you've got to, not as you're saving tires, you've also got to push the limits with these things. And you're right, it's hard racing, short track racing, so you beat and bang, but it's all good and fun.
You figured out how to push the limit pretty hard at South Boston a couple weeks ago. Snagged the track record.
Yeah, it was South Boston was a good weekend for us. Was able to finally get the monkey off our back. We fired off at New Smyrna with a 9th place qualifying and then 12th place run. So a nice starting ground, and then back that up at Greenville with we struggled a little bit in qualifying, was running 10th in the race and had some misfortune, got taken out early. Don't really know where we would have ended up, but would like to see how that one would have played out. But in Bristol, we struggled a little bit. Just a couple little things went wrong, and finally at South Boston, we were able to get the monkey off our back like I talked about. and go out there, get on the pole, and lead some laps and be able to run up front was definitely a pretty cool experience.
So where's your next K&N race coming up at?
The next race is out in Memphis next weekend.
Oh, that's right. Memphis is next weekend. Now, let me ask you a question. I know you got the K&N things going on right now. Are you racing any other types of cars, or dabbling around any place else outside of the K&N series?
Earlier this year, I had run some outlaw kart stuff, just kind of was able to have some fun with it, being that my background is dirt and mini sprints and a little bit in sprint cars. So it was fun to go out there and run them. And then we kind of took a break from that. Didn't want to, get hurt or anything like that. And when I'm just out there, just to have a little bit of fun. So it wasn't worth it. So we just kind of stayed in the K&N, and I might dabble around in my late model that we still have later in the year, but for now we're just going to stay in the K&N E series.
So do you have the little itch to go participate in the big outlaw kart racing that's going on out there in your area over the next 2 days?
I think a lot of people have that itch, and nobody's able to do it with the rain we've had. So we'll see what tomorrow comes when it comes around. But yeah, I do have an itch. I want to go run it, but at the same time, I know I don't want to get myself hurt and not be able to run at Memphis next weekend.
Right, I can understand that. So tell us a couple things. What do you like to do when you're not racing?
Well, I spend a lot of my time at the shop. It's an eat, sleep, breathe type stuff is what racing is. So, I spend a lot of my time at the shop, but while I'm at the shop, I do the graphics. I picked up that when I was really young. I say really young, like 10 years old, 11 years old, just teach myself how to do iRacing paint schemes, and then progress from there and just kept, doing little things here and there, and was able to learn how to work a printer. And so now I print all my schemes for my car and the other Rev Racing cars and put them on. And it's pretty much what I spend my every day-to-day basis doing.
Well, that's pretty cool. So let me ask you a question. Favorite type of music? Do you have any other sports that you follow? Favorite teams? Just, part of Raceface, our Raceface show here is so that the viewing audience gets a chance to really know who you are. And so it's all about, again, it's all about helping you build your brand. So is there anything else you'd like to share with the viewers?
Well, besides racing, I don't really follow many sports. I kind of just stick to racing. But other shows I follow, I'm a huge Prison Break advocate. And I know there's only one show left, so I'm kind of disappointed on that end. But yeah, I say if there's any type of thing I follow that you can relate to best of me with, would have to be Prison Break. I'm pretty much of a diehard. I tweet about it about every 5 seconds that it's on the air. So it's definitely something I pay close attention to.
Tell us a little bit about your sponsors this year, so we can kind of give them a little plug while you're on the show.
Yeah, we've got quite a bit of sponsors here, and well, first of all, without NASCAR D4D program, the Drive for Diversity program, none of this would even be possible with Rev Racing and Max Siegel Incorporated. We ran Braille batteries on the hood at New Smyrna, and they were an awesome partner with iBox Springs on the quarter panels, and just a lot of secondary sponsorship like mechanics wear that I'm wearing now, and we've got Lincoln Electric with the welders on the hood, so that's definitely cool to have them there, and it kind of plays into my role. I like the fabrication side of the shop, so it's kind of cool to partner with them and to be able to have some fun with it.
Well, Tom, I know that you follow the K&N series very, very close, as you do all the different series. It's like every time we're on the show, I'm kind of like trying to keep up with you because you are so in tune with what's going on out there. And I know that you were the one that wanted to have Chase on the show. So where do you see Chase's future going sitting at your perspective, Tom?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say, obviously, because so many things play into a young driver like Chase's future that have nothing really to do with what Chase can control. I mean, he's certainly a very talented racer, just like his older brother Colin is. And now with being able to participate in the Drive for Diversity program and the NASCAR Next program, I mean, he's going to have some great opportunities to socialize and kind of network and get in front of media and all of those things mean, from a talent standpoint, he certainly has a lot of potential. And hopefully we'll be seeing both him and Colin at some point in the near future up into the truck series perhaps, and then going up from there. I mean, they're both great kids. They come from a great family. Their father, Lou, is just a terrific guy, former professional wrestler too, by the way.
That's right. I remember
Just kind
that.
of cool to have that. I would think for a dad, for a background, you could say my dad was a pro wrestler.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that'd come in real handy if there's going to be any like those pit road scuffles and everything. You'd just be like,
Yeah.
hey, talk to the big guy over here.
Exactly.
Dad, please.
Yeah.
I need some help on this one.
Yeah,
That's right.
You can see Kyle Busch charging over, and next thing you know, he's getting a leg drop or something.
That's right.
Suplex him off the hood.
So Chase, let me ask you, if you could look in your crystal ball, and we pretty much ask all the drivers this, look in your crystal ball and tell us where you see yourself 3 years from now.
Well, that's a little bit of a difficult question. You know, kind of like what Tom says, your future's kind of up in the air, and it's tough to know that you don't know exactly what's going to happen next year. I could be back in Tampa, Florida, but we hope that doesn't happen. You keep pushing forward and going with what you got. So, you know, like I've always said, everybody has that main goal as a child, and that main goal for me was to be a Monster Energy Cup Series driver. But that main goal consists of many other goals, and each goal is a check off the list. So it's just another check as you go along, and you keep hoping that you keep climbing that ladder, and wherever you end up, whether it takes 5 or 10 years, you hope you just get to that point. I would like to say in 3 years I'm going to be running my first or second year of the NASCAR Cape World Truck Series, but like I said, your future's kind of up in the air, and you got to just go with what you got going.
Yeah, because it's a lot more today than just about racing. There's that business side of it, you know, and coming up and making sure that you've got the, you know, you got the sponsorship, you got the funding that it takes, because, man, I mean, even in the K&N series, it's not a cheap place to be able to run, and that's got to be, you know, really exciting to be accepted into that diversity program, because I know that takes a lot of the financial burden, you know, off of an individual. So, you know, I just want to let you know that, you know, we're keeping our eye on you. The best of luck coming up in Memphis, and Tom, I'm hoping it dries up for you guys there so you can get some of this racing in. And I want to be able to see some outlaw kart video footage from you next week on the show. So I know you're going to be there or have somebody out there. Let's see if we can't steal a little video footage and kind of share with everybody.
Yeah, their speed51.com will have the pay-per-view of that over the next couple of days, and should be a lot of fun. Again, hopefully Mother Nature allows us to have that show. It's a blast for the drivers, and a lot of fun for all of us who are either involved in it or just the fans who are in town. It's very competitive, a lot of action, a lot of thrills, chills, and spills, as the typical marketing cliche goes for a race of that nature, and it definitely lives up to all of that. So we'll do our best here, and certainly look forward to the weekend. A lot of stuff going on, of course. You know, Monaco and the Indy 500 and Coke 600 on Sunday, which basically is about the greatest day of the year for a motorsports fan. It's kind of like, you know, being in motorsports heaven for the day, for sure.
Absolutely. So Chase, do you have a Facebook page you'd like for people to go check out and like?
Yeah, for sure. Just my athlete page on Facebook is just my name, Chase Cabre, as well as my Twitter and Instagram. I always like to get on Twitter and joke around with a few people, especially the hate mail that you get. Those are my favorite ones to have some fun with. So
You haven't got any haters yet, have you?
oh yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, if you don't have those, you're not doing your job, or you're not racing hard enough. So anyway, Tom, Chase,
Exactly.
thanks for being with us. We're just about out of time. So I encourage everybody to go on to Facebook, check Chase out. If you've not seen our Facebook page at Raceface, go do that. Like us, share us, and we'll see all of you back here next week.